Welcome to Together We Harvest. In this video, I'm going to show you this cheap cattle panel greenhouse that I've built that pretty much anybody can build and anybody can afford. This is episode 3 of the greenhouse build. And episode 1 and 2, I kind of break down why I built this greenhouse. We built this greenhouse here on our property because we no longer want to deal with chickens in the snow, and we also want to have a place where we can start our crops earlier rather than just doing them inside. And don't worry, if you don't have chickens, you can totally build a greenhouse like this. This is designed to have chickens in it and plants in the spring. So if you just want to grow plants in a greenhouse like this build is absolutely for you. This greenhouse right here is going to be our future home of our 32 egg-laying hens. We have 32 egg-laying hens that we provide eggs for ourselves, as well as friends and family and people in our local community. And in case you didn't know, chickens absolutely hate the snow. They tolerate it. And if I never have to worry about taking care of my flock in the snow of a foot or 2 feet of snow ever again, I'm going to be thankful, and I know they will be as well. Here's a breakdown of the design that I did online, just so I could have an idea of how I wanted to build this once the time came. The first part of the greenhouse is like my chicken office. I know that sounds silly, but I wanted an area where I could store feed and materials that chickens would not poop on, perch on, lay eggs on, and just make a mess of. So the first 6 feet or so of this chicken coop or greenhouse is actually just storage and an area where I can walk in and not be bothered by the chickens, not have mess, but store things that could benefit me and the chickens. And just so you're aware, I do plan on making 4 episodes of this greenhouse. This being episode 3 means it's not quite complete, but it's very, very close. I've got 2 more things to do and I can move in the chickens. Let's start the tour. This is 12 feet wide and 32 feet long. The first 6 feet, as I mentioned before, is my little chicken office. There's 2 things I need to do still. I need to add a door here to make sure the chickens stay over there. And if we back up a little bit and we go over here, these are the wood chips that got delivered for free from a local tree service that I'm going to use as bedding for the chicken coop or the chicken greenhouse. I eventually have to put this into the greenhouse, and that is what is going to create compost, mask the smell, keep things hygienic for the chickens in this area over here. Considering that, let's just call this my chicken office, is 6 feet long this way, and the total length of this greenhouse is 32 feet. We're looking at 26 feet from here all the way to the back of the greenhouse. That gives us 26 by 12 feet of space for our 32 egg-laying hens. And that's a grand total of 312 square feet for our 32 egg-laying hens. That's plenty of space when they're put on deep bedding. The intention is to keep our chickens here for the coldest months here in Wisconsin. That's December, January, and February. And as you can see, I've got this table here. This is where I plan on mixing their feed. I'm going to have some containers up here I'll mix the feed in. On this side over here, I'm going to have our 2 55-gallon steel drums that we're going to put all of our feed in. If you didn't know, we make our own feed. We have our own mix. I'll put a link down in the description of the feed mix video that I use for our hens. It's very affordable and it's much better for them. So that's what this area is over here. And again, I did not want the chickens in this area jumping on top of the barrels, pooping, laying eggs, nesting in the corner over there. It's just chaotic. I want to be able to, or even myself and my entire family, I want to be able to open the door, prop it up, and not worry about the chickens running out. I want them to have their own area over here. And then one cool thing I did that I absolutely thought was necessary was I installed a light right here. I flip on the switch. It's hard to tell right now, but I'll show you what it looks like at night. And we've got 2 lights right here that are going to help us see when you first walk in. This whole area gets lit up. Those are very bright. Those are nice LED shop lights. And that way you can see when you're getting out their feed, storing their drink and waters down there. And then this area over here has separate lights. These are exterior Edison lights, LED plastic Edison lights that we had for a different purpose but no longer needed. I found them in a bin in our garage. I thought this would be a great addition to have up here going along this post. This right here is 1/2 inch hardware cloth that I put up right here. That is actually a really good idea because I'm walking around in here with lumber, moving things around. I have hit here and I've not punctured the greenhouse plastic. It's also good because it prevents predators from coming inside if they happen to climb up the sidewall. The sidewalls are old used tin roofs I just put up on here. That's why these are 3 feet tall, because that's generally the width of metal roofing. This door right here is a clean out door basically. Behind here we've got a really steep hill on our property, so if we end up not collecting this, these wood chips that'll be in here shortly for compost, I can just pitch them out the back, they go down the hill and they'll just dissolve. It's all organic matter, it's all going to be fine in the woods right there. Because it is approaching winter very quickly right now, I don't want to really mess around with having to get this door already. There's no use of having this door in the winter. This is specifically in the spring for clean out and access from this side. So I boarded up this door. I don't have anything up here like I do on the front. This is just loose plastic, and I've got things in the back that are holding it down. So I'll worry about that in the spring. That's not a priority at all. Wherever I don't have these metal roofing panels, I end up putting 1/2 inch hardware cloth right here. It's 3 feet. And then I ended up having to put it a little higher just in case predators wanted to climb. Then when I got to the corner, because this isn't perfectly square, I just bent this down and zip tied it to the cattle panels right here. Cattle panels are amazing things. I'm pretty sure people are buying these more for gardening and homesteading things, like with chickens or building arches and stuff in their garden, more than actually using them for their intended purpose, that being cattle. They're about 4 feet long, a little longer, 50 inches to be exact. So when we got to the end of the 32 feet, I did need to take an angle grinder and cut this one down, just so the plastic would not rip as we were installing it, pulling it over top of here. I did put pipe insulation on here, and then I zip tied the pipe insulation on here to hold it intact. The reason why this is up here is because I do plan on cutting out this plastic for ventilation. I do plan on putting it on the other side so we have some good airflow in here as well. After I have all of the wood chips in here, so you have to imagine 12 to 18 inches of wood chips, probably more like 12, I'm going to put this board here and just screw it in. One screw there, one screw there, and that's going to prevent the wood chips from going out into this area right here. So the door I'm installing is actually going to be about a foot off the ground above here. I'll just have to step over, which is not a big deal, when I'm going in to feed the chickens and give them water and collect eggs and just do things in here in general. Of course, that'll be out, that'll be out. These tools will also be out of here. One thing I really like about this greenhouse is that there's tons of space. All I did was took reclaimed 4x4s right here off of an old long pallet, and then took a 2x4 and went across like this. Because of how sloped this is, I don't see any snow at all ever staying up here on the top. I do have this hanger tape right here, and that's just a piece of metal that I can put around the cattle panel piece of metal here and screw in there, and also screw in over there. The reason why I wanted to use that instead of fencing staples is because if I ever need to take this down, it's a lot easier to remove. I also did that along the edges over here to secure the cattle panels to the top plate of the sidewall right there. Because these 4x4s are not treated, I did have to put a 2x8 that is treated down here, and then I toe-nailed the screw in. You can see that white screw, so this isn't going anywhere once it's been plumb. And then I have another support over here, and that's all I really needed to go from that end of the greenhouse to here and to here. And the reason why I didn't need another 4x4 like this to support the roof is because I've got this door here that I put the 2x4 on right there. These pavers I had literally sitting outside the greenhouse. They're recycled pavers from a different project, so I brought them in here because it might be nice to have some flat, hard, solid ground to stand on here and there. The reason why it's not in the middle is because when I wheelbarrow in and out, I want to make sure that I've got a smooth ground to work with, which is exactly why this needs to be removable rather than something that's impeding the whole process. I have this 2" by 4" field fencing, this is called, and I just wrapped it around this little 1x2 and then zip tied it to the cattle panel right here. This is all very basic stuff. Here's some more hanger tape, goes across like that. Of course, I've got this up here, and I may add more of this or this right here. To secure the plastic in the front, It was pretty simple. I simply pulled it over and used a 1x4 to secure it to whatever piece of wood was behind it. It's that simple. Furring strip, 1x2, 1x4, just make this X. Make this pattern here just to sure things up a little bit. I had extra 1x4s, another 1x4 going this way. I could easily put one here and here. So that's how I shored up the front. Then I wrapped it around the side and secured it down here to the furring strip. I have furring strips going along the bottom of the entire thing that I screw into the vertical studs, if you call it that, the 4x4s and the 2x4s from the inside. You can see that this roofing is all random and doesn't match. I do plan on painting this next summer, rolling up the plastic and just painting it all white so it all matches. These are straps meant for greenhouse. These are tie-down straps. Just in case we have any severe wind, it's going to secure the greenhouse plastic, hopefully from going up too high. I only put 3 on, that's all the strapping that I had. So I do think it would pay off to have another one here and here. I'm not too concerned about the front or the back end simply because this is secured so many different ways with all these pieces of wood all over, at least in the front side. And then to put those straps on, I just doubled them up. So I pulled it down, doubled it up a couple times and put a screw through it into the furring strip that's attached through this metal roof to some wood on the other side. To keep this from bowing out, I do have some T-posts like this, and then I took some of that pipe insulation, put over top of here so the plastic would not rub on there. And I zip tied it on, as you can see here, really tight so that this foam wouldn't move when we installed the plastic. I'm to the point where I just want to get the chickens moved in. We're approaching December here. So I simply just pulled this plastic nice and snug. I did not tidy it up like I did on the front side. This is that back door that's unfinished. And I simply just took these old fence posts like this, laid it on top of the plastic, and then put some pavers and bricks and things just to weigh it down to prevent it from blowing out and causing an issue. That's gonna work just to get us through the winter. And once we get snow on here, that's even gonna secure it better. On this side over here, I did take some of these 4x4s to secure this. Even though it is secured with this furring strip and these straps, I just wanna make sure we have anything we can do to secure this plastic down. And you'll notice on this side, because it is sloped a little bit, it does go downhill, I did leave all of the plastic on, a good 12 to 14 inches away from the greenhouse. Why is that important? Well, if we get snow built up here, I want it all to run down this way and go down the hill in that direction. I don't want any snow like creeping back up or building up here and going into the greenhouse on that side, especially in the spring when things start to melt. And then just to tidy things up on the inside, because I don't like wires all over the place, especially when we're dealing with animals, I did take some of that hanger strap right here and screw this in just to tidy up this extension cord. I do have an old garage over here, which is where I'm getting my power from. I'm not running a generator or solar generator or anything out here to power this. The reason why I wanted to put lights throughout this entire thing is in case I need to come out here at night and do something. I don't plan on keeping the lights on to increase egg production, meaning in the winter when we have less hours of daylight, I don't plan on putting 4 more hours of daylight in here. It's more just so I can see what's going on. I never would have bought Edison lights for a greenhouse. That's kind of silly. They're more decorative outside, like by a fire pit or a landscaped area. But I had them, so I put them up there. I thought they worked well, and I think they look nice. And just so you know, this is kind of divided into sections. I plan on having the nesting boxes over here. I just got a brand new nesting box set up. They're stainless steel rollaway nesting boxes. I thought I'd give them a shot because I have a new coop to put the chickens in. I've never used those before, so you'll see that in the next episode. You're also going to see their food and waters over here. This is kind of going to be like the busy station of the egg collection, feed, water. I do plan on hanging them from the cattle panel trellises with wire down so that they're well off the ground, they don't create a mess. Then this will be just kind of a free-for-all area, and in the back I plan on putting their roosts and keeping that over there. So please stay tuned for episode 4 of the greenhouse build. You're going to see the chickens in here, the wood chips, the door, the nesting boxes, the feeders, the waters, the whole setup, and how this is going to function with our feed back here and our little feed mixing station where the camera is right now. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad you made me part of your day. I hope to see you on the next video.